Let's start with the AFC East. The AFC East is an interesting division. Obviously, we've got the Jets, the Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills. Just an interesting – those probably would be the three teams that I guess everybody kind of thinks about a lot. The Patriots, obviously, are in that division as well. So let's talk about that one. What are your initial thoughts on that one, Joseph?
Yeah, I think for the first time in a long time, it's not the Patriots' division to lose. So
right.
They proved last year that they don't really have it anymore, right? I mean, the Bills look, you could say, dominant at times, especially in that late season game against the Patriots on Monday night, where they kind of blew them out.
Right.
So I think this year heading in, it's the Bills division. I think they ultimately win the division again. I just think the Patriots. We saw last year that Belichick, it was probably more Brady than Belichick, right? Mm-hmm. So we didn't know that going in. So we were, obviously giving the nod to Belichick, like, oh, he'll have something for the division as usual. But they don't really have a good quarterback. Like Cam Newton, last I checked, didn't throw the ball more than like 15 yards with spiral.
Right.
The way it looked last year. So, and they got the rookie from Alabama, right?
Right.
Mac Jones, I think. So,
right.
Either if they start either one of those guys, I don't see them being that much better than last year. And Josh Allen's only going to be have another year under his belt of experience. They made the playoffs last year, so I think it's the Bills division. I think the Patriots. I think they kind of compete with the Dolphins for second place. Maybe they go 8-8, 7-9, something like that. And then I think the Jets bring up the rear in that division.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. I think the Bills are probably going to win the division. I think the Patriots are done. Like, their dynasty's over, obviously. I mean, they might be back again someday, but they'll have to rebuild at that point. And I don't think it's going to be with Belichick. I think it's going to be a whole new coach, whole new system, but maybe 5 years down the road, so then they may be back. But I think they're pretty much done. So I think in the Jets, who knows? I don't think they're going to be that great. But the Dolphins, I think, though, maybe – that's a little interesting. I wouldn't be shocked if the Dolphins won the division. I like the Bills, and everything you said is right. I mean, they made the playoffs last year. I like Josh Allen a lot, all right? And he's going to have – some of his mistakes he's made in the playoffs, I feel like, are just inexperienced a lot of times, right? Maybe. So he's getting more experience, and those should correct themselves. But I wouldn't be shocked if the Dolphins – for some reason, I don't totally trust the Bills as a team, not Josh Allen, but
yeah. Well, I tend to agree with you more, and I've said this. He's still mistake prone, and some of that stuff is just the way he is. Like, he's liable to just.
You got a little Brett Favre in him, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Or just a kind of a dumb pass out of nowhere in a crucial situation. Yeah, so I see that, but I don't really see Tua with the Dolphins. Like, I don't see him doing much. I don't know.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, the one thing that, if you talk about those two teams for the division, the one thing that makes me lean to the Bills the most probably is a defense wins championships. I agree with that, but you don't need, I guess, but I think you have to look at the quarterback at some point, right? Of two teams. And with, the teams have won with the quarterback, subpar quarterback before, with a good defense, but most of the time you're going to need at least an above average quarterback if you're going to win your division, win the Super Bowl. And I don't know about Tua, so that's a negative against the Dolphins. I just wouldn't be shocked if they somehow did slip up and win the division. I don't know. I guess it depends how the playoffs shake out, but I guess if the Dolphins won the division somehow, I don't see them doing as much in the playoffs as the Bills could if they won the division.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the Dolphins are a force to be reckoned with. Last year they were pretty much in that race until the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season. I agree with both of you. Tua is not necessarily a guy that you look at and say, hey, he's going to make that big step this year and take them to the playoffs. But they've got a good, solid running back in Myles Gaskin. They've got Devontae Parker at wide receiver. He was hurt a little bit last year. They've got a really solid young defense. I think they're an up-and-coming team. Are they playoff bound this year? Maybe a wild card, I don't know. But I think they're going to be a real challenger in that division. I think they're building that team the right way. But I agree with you. I think the Bills are obviously the favorite. Josh Allen just signed a new contract. I think now he's like the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL, which is neither here nor there. But obviously he's, they've made steady improvements. Playoffs one year. This year they won a playoff game, got to the conference championship, or last year. This year, if they continue on that path, they should get to the conference championship and maybe win it. I don't know. It depends on who they play. But I think the Patriots are still they're still going to be a decent team. I agree with Nathan. Their dynasty is over. They're just another NFL team now that might make the playoffs a couple years and then may not make it. Obviously, Cam Newton, Belichick is still saying he's the starter, but I think if they go in the season with him the starter and he plays more than 1 or 2 weeks, they're in trouble.
If he starts all, is it 17 now? Or are they still
17 games.
If he starts all 17 games,
they're in trouble.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're in trouble. And I think Belichick is just waiting for Mac Jones to get to the point where, he's a serviceable quarterback.
Not only are they in trouble, I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to let him start 17 games.
I agree with you. So I would agree with both you guys. I think that division belongs to the Buffalo Bills this year.